can you plant in your raised beds for a fall garden harvest in the later part of the fall planting window? Well, that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. The first thing that's important to remember is the zone that you are in. I am in zone 6B. So if you are in this same zone or a zone that has a similar climate, this will probably work for you. If you are not in this zone and you're in a zone that has a very drastically different climate, this will probably not work for you. So it's very important to know your zone. It's very important to know your weather conditions. The first thing that I want to talk about with the fall garden right now is what is currently going on where we live. We are in a drought. Normally I have a pretty decent sized fall garden going. The fall is my favorite time to do my brassicas. I usually do a lot of kale and spinach during this time as well. And for the most part, I don't really have any of that going. I started it a couple months ago, and the drought was so bad unless you were out here watering every day, and it was 100 degrees most of August and the first part of September. And so most of everything that I planted just did not thrive. So what I'm showing you today is some things that you can still get in. We are about September, let's see, what's today? September 24th, I believe. So I'm going to show you today some things that you can still get in the later part of the fall planting window. I would say by the time we roll into October 1st, we're pretty much done planting for the fall. But there are still a few things that you can get in and a few things that I'm still very hopeful for, and that's what I'm going to talk to you about today. All right, so here are some of the things that I am going to be planting today. I got a couple different varieties of lettuce. Here, and I will link my favorite places to shop for seeds below. So here's what I want to talk to you about on planting later in the fall. When you look at a seed pack, there should be a days to harvest on there. So this lettuce is 21 to 65 days. So let's talk about what that means. When you go to the grocery store and you buy lettuce, you're buying lettuce that is fully mature, that was probably picked in a big head like here on the picture. For the most part, home gardeners are not wanting their lettuce to get fully to a head like that, and they're going out and harvesting while the lettuce is still growing, because if you harvest while it's growing, then it puts on regrowth and you can extend the season quite a bit with the lettuce. So if you look here, you've got 21 to 65 days, and that's why you can pretty much start harvesting at about 21 days. It's going to be pretty little, but once you get up to about 65 days, you're going to have a full head of lettuce like this. So again, let's think here. We're September 24th. 65 days from now is basically 2 months, so that's November, basically Thanksgiving. We will probably have had a few hard frosts by then, and my lettuce very well could be dead by then. However, on the lower end of this, 21 days, that takes us to about October 15th. You know, that's kind of iffy here in zone 6B, whether we've had a hard frost or not. So when you look at days to maturity on a seed packet, keep in mind that even though it's kind of later in the fall right now, fall planting window, you can still plant and probably get a good harvest. Another thing to remember is that these are frost hardy. Lettuce is pretty frost tolerant, so it's probably going to survive most of the mild frost. Even when you get to a hard frost, you have the option of covering it, hopefully. And you would be surprised even if you don't cover it. It's pretty impressive what some of these plants can make it through. Spinach is extremely, extremely hardy, which I'm not doing any spinach today, but that's, if you're wanting some leafy greens throughout the winter, definitely do spinach. What else do I have going in today then is also beets. When you look at days to maturity on beets, 55 days. And radishes, they are very fast growing. We got 28 days on there, and that's another root vegetable that you can pick really at different sizes. You can wait for it to get bigger. You can pick it when they're smaller. So that's what we got going in today. So let's get planting. All right, I'm here in one of my raised beds. I have a lot of raised beds, but since we are in a drought, most of them are very weedy right now. I'm waiting for a good rain, so the soil will be softer to get those weeds out. But this one I had covered, so it's very weed free. And it also has chicken wire around it to keep out the chickens and the rabbits and the deer. So what I'm gonna do here, since it's so dry, is I'm just gonna take my finger and just make a really shallow little crevice or little ditch, whatever you want to call it, for about 2 or 3 rows, because I'm gonna do my radishes and my beets first, and then I'll show you how I put them in there and how to cover them up. All right, there's my radish seed. I'm just gonna lay them in the little ditches that I made here, and we want to cover them about a 1/4 inch deep. And even though my ditches aren't quite a 1/4 inch deep, I do have plenty of soil to get covered on top of them. So I'm just gonna sprinkle them in. I'm not too concerned about spacing. So just gonna sprinkle them in. Gonna do 2 rows here. And then just cover them up. And get some water on them. All right, so I went ahead and did the lettuces over here in this area, and the last thing that I need to do is give it a good dose of water, and I'll water pretty much every day until germination, and then after germination I'll water about every 2 days, especially with the current fall that we are having. As I continue to look at the extended forecast, there is no rain in sight. So there you go. Those are some things that you can plant for your fall garden yet here in Zone 6B on September 24th.